What's up, Magnetic Men Club? We are back here on another Friday with you. Surprisingly, because I'm here in Cabo and we have a hurricane going over the top of us. So hopefully the internet bandwidth remains with us and we'll be able to get through this video. But today we have an amazing topic for you guys. We actually did a video on this a couple weeks ago, about a week ago actually, that we launched on basically the 10 different simp behaviors. And we'll make sure that's linked below so you guys can check that out. But today, we're talking about really simping and how it's kind of been the downfall of society, how we've kind of created today what is known as the modern woman and how they kind of have become entitled over time because of that simping behavior and how that's really caused systemic issues in society and all that stuff too. Obviously, we've got my good friend Jared here today.
Hey guys, hope everyone's having an amazing weekend. I think that video did pretty well as far as the comments go, and a lot of people seem to resonate with it, and also they even would comment says, "Hey, I was guilty of number 5 and number 8," and
as we all are at some point for sure.
I think I did all of them. I mean, one of the ways that you can talk about something is if you failed in doing it and corrected it. So there's a lot of people out there that seem to talk about don't do this, don't do that. You would hope that they say, I've done all of these things, so please, I'm trying to save you time. Don't do them. But, but that video did very well. And we got a lot of comments on it. And, I think it's an important topic, but we are spinning it a little bit because we're kind of talking about how I don't know if it's ruined so much society, but definitely dating. It's definitely ruined dating. And the idea of dating these days is just, it's crazy, especially if you're not that experienced in dating, maybe if you're a little bit younger, all you know is online dating. All you know is, I venture to probably guess most young people have never been able to just walk up to a girl and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and actually do a cold approach and just talk to them. It's always online.
Well, the thing too is like one thing that I've learned over time reading all the books and stuff that I have, especially the Iron John by Robert Bly. Mm-hmm. He talks a lot in that book about male initiation. And I think a lot of guys today, like with the whole father issues and how, we basically removed the nuclear family, all that kind of stuff too. And how, fatherhood, like fathers live outside the house now. A lot of the time they're not even home. They're working. They're doing way too many things, right? They're not really home with the kids. The kids don't even really get to know their fathers in a lot of cases nowadays too. And so I think that lack of having a strong male figure in your life really detriments you. Like you don't get that initiation process, right? So you don't really get to know what it means to be a man and how men are supposed to act and how men basically contribute to the family and society overall. And it has created a generation of weak men. And I think that's kind of what we were getting at, and how these simp behaviors are really a side effect of lacking that male initiation and lacking strong male figures in our lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, this rise of like single motherhood, a lot of it stems from that, where if you're, just a boy and your dad's really not in the picture, maybe every other weekend, whatever, but there's no male figure who's been in your life, well, you can only go one of two ways. You're either going to go and do everything you can to please the female, because it's all females that you know of. Your teachers are mostly female. Your principals are female. Guidance counselors, most of them are largely female. So
for the therapists
are females. So if that's all you know, if that's your circle and there's no strong male influence, you're going to go one of two ways. One way, you're going to go and try to appease them and say, hey, when I'm really nice, Miss So-and-so, my teacher, is super nice to me. Or when I do these things, I get all this attention. The other boys who are what like I was, rambunctious, they say, oh, the guy, he needs to be on ADD for being a boy. That's the problem. So if you go the other way and you're being a boy, half the time you get thrown on medication because you like to tumble around with other boys. You're a boy. Well, they start seeing, oh, well, my friend Jimmy's always getting in trouble, and the teachers, I can tell, don't like him. This is how the simps are born. And what happens is it works for you in school, and it might even work for you in college, but in the real world, if that same logic comes up, he goes, if I'm really nice to Becky and I heart and comment and DM her and all of this, she'll be nice to me. The fuck, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You come off creepy. So I'm not saying it's men's fault. This is what they've been programmed into. But you have to deprogram from that, because you're going to be in your 30s, you're going to be in your 40s, and you're going to wonder, how come I can't get a girlfriend? How come it's so hard for me to connect with a girl? Because
the thing is, too,
you learned the wrong way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You just kind of learned the wrong way to go about it, because, like, that's what school does to you. Like, that's what the school system and all that stuff does to you. You're just another cog in the system. You're just another number on a sheet, right? Yep. They don't really care about you, your feelings, who you are. They just tell you, okay, this is the right way to behave. This is how we behave in society. This is how you get by in society, all that kind of stuff too. And it's wrong. It's ass backwards, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to me. This kind of topic really does speak to me, because I grew up without a father. Like, my dad was gone before I was even born. I don't even have his last name. And so, I mean, according to my birth certificate, I was immaculately conceived. Like, there's only a mother on there. So my mom was a strong, independent woman. She always put people in their place. That's what I grew up with, you know? And even my grandfather, her father, was a simp, like through and through. He acted with those simp behaviors, and that's what they taught me. And my uncles, all those guys taught me, like, well, you got to respect women, you got to be nice, all that kind of stuff, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I just feel like there's a different subset of behaviors that I was never taught. And so one big thing too is, even outside of trying to get a girlfriend and the whole dating aspect, it makes you really bad even if you're able to get into a relationship. It makes it so that you can't really, like, your wife's not really into you. She doesn't want to have sex with you. Maybe you're in a sexless marriage, which is another topic that we've actually covered a lot too. And a lot of it comes from those kinds of behaviors. Like, it just turns them off. They don't respect you. They don't respect that. And so that's what we talked about too, the 10 different behaviors that you can watch for that really kind of give you an idea if you're really doing those things or not, because it's not obvious. This is all surface level stuff. As nice guys, as we turn into nice guys, we don't really understand that we're doing these things wrong. And we don't really understand that that is the problem. When we look outside and we look at the women that we like, and we're like, why does she like bad men? Why does she want to get treated like shit? I would never treat her like shit. Right. And that's kind of the mentality that we start to adopt in that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect way to say it, because these guys live in this reality. They don't even know the girl. Most of the time when I talk about simping, because it is an unfair, unequal, or non-existent of an exchange of value. And I always say it's between a man and a woman. And women simp too. I mean, women can simp for men too, but that's a rarity. That's almost doesn't happen, but it does. And so when you have this exchange and you keep hearting, you keep liking, you keep trying to DM, and it's over and over, all you're doing is bringing her value up. In her mind, she's like, oh, all of these guys are loving my post, and she's probably average at best. She's probably, if you looked around, she's probably average at best. But because you keep bringing her level up, she thinks she's an 8, a 9, or a 10. And that's what now she expects. Oh, I deserve an 8, 9, or 10. Really?
They get the entitlement. Yeah.
They get the entitlement. And guys are doing this. They're jacking up her perceived sexual marketplace value over hearts, likes, DMs. Maybe if they go out with them, they're just ready to wife them up like date one. And that's the problem that you see in society. I'm not trying to here to bash women, but there's a lot of women that start developing these narcissistic traits just over social media. And the other part is, if you're doing this thing and you're raising her value, by default, you're lowering yours. It's going the other way. I always say, if you treat any woman like a fan, she's good, or a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. And it's not so much about, to me, it's not so much like I respect my girlfriend, but I have strong boundaries. I'm not going to placate to sometimes when she does bullshit or says something. That's where the simping part comes, where you placate and you don't have strong boundaries. You don't have a strong frame. You don't tell her, look, these are the things I will not deal with. Men these days, they will do anything and everything, most of them, just to have a girl like them. That's all. That's their prerequisite. Oh, she likes me, so therefore we're in a relationship. Really? That's it? We sell ourselves so short in this time, and it's sad because most men have so much to offer, but it's equally these women, their heads are so big with so many guys
Right.
DMing them. And really, guys, think about it. A lot of these girls that, again, I don't want to paint them all, but a lot of these girls are filtered heavy. They don't look like their profile pictures. Some of these girls I see that I know on Facebook, I know what they look like in real life, and I'm like, how the hell did you create this? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
their heads just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so then they think they get this high value guy who, oh, he's got to make 200,000 a year. He's got to be 6'1". He's got to do this, do this. They have this 20 bullet point, and they are pissed and they go on TikTok because those guys are very rare or non-existent.
Yep.
Those guys have choice.
That's just it too. Like they have a choice.
Thing.
Like they are the guys who friend zone them. Because there is a difference, even with my wife, actually, she was right here. She just explained like the difference between wifeability and fuckability, right?
Right.
And there is a big difference, right? And a lot of these guys will look at these girls and say, like, well, you're not worthy of a relationship with me. So, you know, we can fuck around. It's cool. But at the end of the day, like that's really what we're dealing with here is the fact that like in our 30s, as men and as women, we all kind of get a wake-up call, right? And when you're a guy in your mid-30s, you're like, okay, there's something wrong here. What the hell is going on? What didn't I get when I was a kid? What exactly happened throughout all the experience that I've had? Why haven't I been able to get the relationships that I want? Why don't I feel fulfilled the way I should? I really tried. I'm a good guy. I'm really nice. All those kinds of things, right? They start to get this, like, it's like a midlife crisis kind of thing in their mid-30s. Robert Bly talks a lot about that in the book Iron John too. But then women also get that wake-up call. As soon as they hit 32, they realize, oh, well, all the guys my age who have money and who want to do these things, they want to date the girls that are 10 years younger than me. And so that's what happens. The sexual market value kind of flips. And your Rich Cooper actually covers that a lot in Unplugged Alpha.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much logic. I mean, if you look at an 18-year-old guy and an 18-year-old girl, who has a higher sexual marketplace value? The 18-year-old girl. If you go to a 25-year-old guy and girl, she still has a higher value. Once you get to 30, it does start flipping. Now, I'm not saying there's no beautiful women in their 30s and 40s and all that, but what I'm saying is it's more of a mental model in a woman's head than it is a physical thing. And so what happens, so these guys who have been told to do all of these things all their life, go to school, get a good job, get a good education, get a good job, settle down with somebody. Well, here's the problem. They're telling women the opposite. You're independent. You don't need a man. Go to school, get a good job.
Right.
Now women make more than men in a lot of fields, not all, but now women make more. And so it's really hard for a woman who's making, let's just say, 200,000 a year. I'm just throwing a number out, to date a guy who's making any less. They still want a guy who makes at least what she does, but usually more. And so they look at all these other guys that are good quality guys that would make great husbands, they make great fathers, completely invisible. This is why 80% of all men are completely invisible to 100% of all women. They're only pining for the top 20%, but really the top 10. And these 80% come through and they simp and they simp and they heart and they like and they do everything they can just to try to get this girl's attention, but it doesn't work. She doesn't even register. She doesn't even know you exist. You're a blip on a screen. And what you're doing is just giving away your attention, giving away free validation to her. Her head's going up, your value's going down. At women, comment below. Tell me if you're watching this, if you're like, yeah, you agree. Guys, tell me that's not true. Every time I heart and comment, Sarah wants to have sex with me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's never worked in the history unless you're one hell of a good looking guy, and then he doesn't need to simp. He would simply send a DM like, hey, and she's like, hey.
Well, I mean, I've seen it on social media. I mean, I've seen it on reels. I've seen it on even like girls in my family, like their walls and stuff too. And like they'll post a picture, like even if they're overweight and stuff too, like they'll post a picture from the head up with the cleavage showing and stuff too. And all these guys are in here like, goddess, you're gorgeous. Fire emojis. Whatever it is, right? They think that she's going to notice me. She's going to, I'm going to jump into her inbox really quickly too. And it's just like, you don't realize what you're perpetuating here. And at the end of the day, that's really what it is. Like one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, leads to another thing, right? And that's really what's caused a lot of systemic issues in society too. That's really what's caused the nuclear family to fail. That's really what's caused us to blur the lines between what our roles really are as men and as women. And society and the media, they'll all tell us that, well, no, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're all supposed to be equal. And, women can do this and men can do that. Women are independent. They don't even need men. Dude, I've seen TikTok reels and stuff of women out there saying like, we don't need men. There's actually sperm in our bone marrow. And, we can just do this all ourselves. Like, are you serious right now? So it's like, that's what you see from women, though. They really think that they can just be so independent. They never need a man, that they'll be fulfilled in their lives and they can achieve whatever they want because that's what they've been told their whole lives. And men at the same time, too, have been told that you just got to respect women. And that's really what's going to get a nice woman in your house. Right. And so that's what's going to get you in a good relationship. Right. But that is not what equals a good relationship. And that is why women feel so discouraged when they get into their 30s and their 40s, because they do want to settle down once they get into their 30s and their 40s. They've had their fun. They've done their thing. Society built it up. It is what it is. We are all in these positions because of the way society has become, because of these behaviors. And so the first thing that we can do as men is, stop simping, like stop doing that stuff. And that alone is going to cause a lot of things to start working in our favor again. And the reality is you need to focus on yourself. We talk about that a lot, obviously. But at the end of the day, don't put her on a pedestal. Stop putting her on a pedestal. Stop acting like she is a goddess. She's not. She's just another woman, right? Yeah. You're just another man. We're all people. We're all individuals. We all have our own desires and needs, and we're responsible for ourselves, especially as men. And the burden to perform is on men. And so we've got to look at that and say, okay, well, I just need to improve myself. She doesn't matter. Who cares about her? It's all about me. What do I want? Where do I want to be? What life do I want to be living? That's all that matters. Then at some point in your life, maybe in your mid-30s and your 40s, you're ready to settle down. She's ready to settle down. It doesn't matter, right? That's what we're dealing with in society right now. It's because, like I said, the nuclear family has been stripped away. Men are simping left and right. Women have inflated egos because of it. And so we're just causing all of these systemic issues. And we're moving backwards, and it's just causing more and more problems in society, as we've seen, right? We're going to actually make a couple videos on this. I've actually done a whole bunch of research on this stuff too. So we have these topics coming up. So watch out for that stuff.
Yeah. And the other part too is, it's not just young men. There's so it's funny. So my girlfriend, obviously she's on Facebook, and she never posts like provocative pictures. It's just her, right? Maybe with her kids or just whatever. It's never obviously I wouldn't be with her if she did that. She knows that. But all of these it's the same fan base, the same group of guys, see it, and same kind of goddess. I would do anything to be with you. I do this. And some of these guys are married or they're older and they should know better. Right. They should know better. And so the other part that simping does, if you're a married woman, there's more access. So now all these guys, you're starting to post some pictures and all this stuff. Guys are pretty good at noticing patterns. So they might notice Stephanie with her husband and the kids, no hearts, no likes, no comments. And all of a sudden, over a few weeks, Stephanie's now posting sexy pictures of just her. What do you think Stephanie's doing? She's dipping her toe. She's looking for attention. She's looking for
Yep.
validation. She might be looking for some cock. She might be
It's
looking for that.
it's a thirst trap. That's exactly what that is.
She's looking for thirsty men to prop up her bruised ego. So I guarantee you, if I called her, I said something happened between the time you and your husband had this beautiful picture and now you're in your bathing suit saying some bullshit, feeling cute or some shit. I guarantee you something happened in that relationship and she's out there on the hunt. She's out there to get one or two things. She's proving to her husband, watch out. Do you see these 500 people that are just thirsty for me? Or she's actually digging up people like, who's out there? And so if guys just don't give her the time of day, here's the beautiful thing about attention. If you stop giving a woman attention, I guarantee you most of these provocative pictures go away because they're not doing it for their girlfriends. They're not doing it for their family members. They're doing it for the simps. They're certainly not doing it for the non-simps who don't give them attention anyway, but they're doing it for the simps out there. They're just looking to get the dopamine fix. And by you continually to do that, and everybody you know that you just want to marry because she's got a pretty picture, it's fucking stupid. Every time you do that, your value gets lower and lower, and her perceived value gets higher and higher. And you have this complete imbalance, and it'll never work.
You know, another thing that I've seen rise out of this too is what they call passport bros.
Yes,
I see a lot of these guys getting their passports. They go to the Philippines, they go to Ukraine. Well, maybe not now, but they were. They go to Mexico, they go to Colombia, right? Brazil.
Who's getting pissed off about this? The girls who are throwing out thirst traps left and right, like, oh, you have to go to Thailand to get a girl.
Right.
Yeah, I do. Here's why. She understands what it takes. She understands that maybe this guy's average, maybe he's a good guy. The guy pretty much understands they want a ticket to the US, but they're willing to compromise. They're willing to be like, all right, I can go over here, find a girl in a year or so, come over and stuff. All these other girls, all of a sudden, the American woman, the modern woman is getting all pissed. Why don't you like me? I've been liking you. You don't notice. Right. That's the problem.
It bruises her ego, right? It totally makes her feel devalued, and she doesn't want to feel devalued. So she's got to look at him like, well, you know, he's a piece of crap. He's ugly anyway. Who cares? Right. And so she's got to try and make herself feel better. That's when she'll go set up those thirst traps, just so she can feel better and like really inflate her value to herself when she gets all those comments back. And so she'll go post those provocative pictures. Like, you have to see these women in these comment threads when people start talking about passport bros. They get so pissed off. I've never seen women get so pissed off because they feel like they have that entitlement, right?
There's two reasons why they get pissed off. Number one, any woman anywhere is going to get pissed off from a guy. Now, let's say I'm 48. I am 48. If I walk into any bar or any social event and women are my age and they see me with even a 28-year-old, they're immediately pissed. They hate her. They hate her. They hate youth. They hate youth. Not so much beauty, because that's relative, but they hate youth. So when these guys are like, listen, I'm 35, I'm 40, I make great money. I've tried to date you modern women, and then they go overseas and they pick up a beautiful Filipino or wherever, and she's over in the States. They're not so much pissed about how he went to do it. It's she's so young. This is what it drives them nuts. It drives them nuts. And it goes right back to their youth. It says, listen, when I was 23, 24, 25, I should have settled down with a guy who was on his path of purpose. I would never be in this position. When they're in their 30s and 40s, they've been passed around like candy. No guy wants them. They're like, yeah, I mean, I'll sleep with you. but I'm not going to take you seriously.
Well, that's the big thing too, is what I've seen is what pisses off an entitled woman the most is a traditional woman.
Yes.
Somebody who actually believes in traditional values and that stuff. And so this is a problem that is somewhat unique to Western cultures, right? This is a problem that is somewhat unique to Europe, Western Europe, and somewhat unique to the United States and Canada and all those places too. I've noticed this by living abroad for the last 3 years. I mean, I've lived in Mexico. I've gone to Costa Rica. I have a whole bunch of friends who have moved to Colombia and Brazil and the Philippines and Vietnam and all those different places, right? Thailand, right? I see it all over the place. That's where all these passport bros are going because they see that there's more traditional women there. The women there and the men there have more traditional values, and they kind of see it like that. So they can go over there and they could land a smoking hot woman, and she'll do everything for him. She'll cook his breakfast. She'll make sure he has everything he needs, make sure he gets his work done, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a complete juxtaposition to that entitled Western woman that we're used to, right? And that's what pisses them off the most about it, is because they know that, well, I mean, he should be here with me. He should be wanting to be here with me. He should want me in the relationship. Why does he want to go over there and be with that slut? You know, and that's the way they look at it, because women attack other women's femininity, just like men attack other men's masculinity. Like, you're a pussy, this, that, and the other thing. Well, she's ugly. She doesn't deserve that, all that kind of stuff, right? And that's what they start to think about. That's the comments that you see from these people. And all these passport bros are just like, yeah, well, I'm having a good time. It's cool. I'm over here making my money, and she does everything for me, and it's cool.
Now, I would make the argument as the passport bro. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen the videos, and it's like, they're all simps. They're all, I wouldn't say most of them are very.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
At all. They're your video gamer, middle of the road jobs, maybe higher income, but not wealthy.
They just found a cheat code.
They found the cheat code, and that's fine. But there is, back to that alpha male, the man who most women pine for. There's just so few of them, but most women have this mentality that, oh no, I deserve that kind of guy. And then as they get older, they don't find them, and they're wondering, well, what the hell happened? Because you're talking like a guy. I'm independent. That's guy talk. I don't need a man. I don't need all this. So guys are going to agree with them and be like, cool. No, you don't need me. That's fine. We want still a traditional women, and women want traditional men, but they don't want to be traditional women.
Right.
You know? They still want to go out. They still say, oh, no, you should buy dinner. Now, I agree. Like with my girlfriend, you know, we've been together a little over a year. She now it's a relationship. So the dynamic has changed. Sometimes she buys dinner. I don't feel bad about it because now it's a relationship. But in the beginning, I bought the dinner. I mean, I was courting her. But some of these modern women are like, I want you to be traditional. You do everything traditional, but I'm still going to have men friends. I'm still going to post provocative pictures on Facebook. I'm still not going to listen to you when you have a concern. I'm going to disregard you. You have to handle me. The fuck I do. Why does a man need to handle his woman? Like, he handles enough shit all day long. Why does he need to go home and deal with you? Now, a simp, this is the problem with simps. They get a girlfriend and they do everything they can to please them. They do everything in their power to make them happy at the detriment to their own happiness. And women will slowly lose respect for these guys because now they're like, this dude has no backbone. This dude does not know how to tell me no. And then eventually she's going to start sleeping with somebody else because you're that nice guy. You're predictable. You know?
Absolutely. Yep. That's the thing too, is it's just like habits. It's the habit loop in a nutshell. Like, they know that if they do this, this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. They know that if they wear this, they post this, this is what's going to happen. They know if they say this, this is what's going to happen. And so they'll actually test you on that stuff too. I know you covered that in the 10 Simp Behaviors video. So they'll shit test you to no end, right? They'll actually make sure, like, they'll call you out on something that wasn't even your fault, right? And then you apologize for it because you want to keep it going, or you love blast the text and all that kind of stuff too. You love bomber, right? In that case. And so a lot of these guys, like, they think that this leads to her liking him more, her noticing him more, but it really just kind of turns her off and makes her not respect him. And she wants to go after the guy that isn't doing those things.
Yeah.
And it is a kind of like a situation where, yeah, she does expect you to be traditional, and she expects that she can still be promiscuous, and you should just be okay with that. Like, you should just, and at the end of the day, though, if you do that, she's not going to respect you. She's immediately going to stop respecting you, because she will respect the fact that you set boundaries. She will respect those boundaries, but only if you enforce them. If you don't enforce them, she's not respecting crap. She's going to shit test you even more. See how far she can push that line until she's out with another guy, you know, Chad Thundercock down the street, just because she respects him.
No, I mean, that's the problem with relationships. So when these guys say, why is she with Chad, or why is she with Tyrone, or why is she with this guy? It's not that these guys are mean to her. No girl is ever going to say, you know what, I like Chad because he beats me, or he verbally abuses me. No. Chad does what the fuck Chad wants to do. Chad has an idea. He has his own opinions. When he goes out with this girl, hey, we're going to go here to eat. Not, where do you want to go? And the girls are going to be like, well, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Well, whatever you want. Fuck that. Here's where we're going to go. Dress sexy. It's going to be a cool night. You know, whatever. He's giving her direction. Women love that. Women are like, oh, man, this motherfucker. Simps, I'm going to play Kate's princess. Where do you want to eat? I'm going to go buy her a watch first date. I've dated a lot of women, and I've heard a lot of women say, I've gotten jewelry on my first date. And I'm like, well, how did that make you feel? Like, he's bribing me for sex.
Exactly.
Yes. Most of them won't even take it. There was a couple of gold diggers I dated that said, I took it. I'm like, of course I knew you would, but so the idea is you have this mental model in your mind that you need to do so much to please this woman. And once you do, then she'll love you. It doesn't work that way. That's simp logic. It does not work that way. Right. What women respond to the most is, okay, this guy got a great job. You don't even have to be that great looking. We're not even talking about physical looks. We're talking about your mental model. This guy knows what he wants. He knows what his boundaries are. He has hard nose on, here's things I'm just not going to deal with. He has a direction for his life and for the woman, whoever that woman is into his life. Certain women are going to be repelled by that. Other women are going to be like, yes, this is what I want. He's not going to be this type of guy who's going to be wishy-washy, have this gray thinking. It's black and white thinking. If you do these things, don't call me. You can do them, just don't call me. And a lot of these guys, again, because they've been born and grew up with single moms, the teachers, college system, maybe most of their circle are women. Here's the thing you can tell a simp dead on. Most of his friends are women. He doesn't have a group of strong male friends, because those strong male friends would probably kick him out of the group. It's just, it doesn't jive. So that's another thing women hate. When men have lots of girlfriends, but he's not screwing any of them, he's just a friend zone to all of them. Women do not like that. They're like, listen, this guy should be fishing, hiking, doing shit with the guys. Why is he with Jen at the mall?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with him?
Well, the thing is, they like the mystery of it, right?
Well,
the mystery is fun.
Simps play this game like they have all these girlfriends, they have all of this access to women, but their access is through his money or his attention or through his time. It's never through sex. So he thinks the more women I can have in my circle and then drop to this girl he likes, hey, yeah, I was hanging out with Beth, or I was hanging out with this girl. She's like, I don't want to hear about all these girls. It's the same damn thing if a girl was telling me, oh, I just hung out with Jeff today. Oh, you know what? I'm hanging out with Bill tomorrow. I wouldn't be dealing with this bitch. Like, the hell out of here.
Exactly. Yep.
But this is what they think. Like, if they can just be friends with a ton of women, some girl is going to find that attractive. They're not. Now, I will give you a cheat code. If you go out to a bar with a bunch of women, then that's social proof. There will be women that want to join that group, but you got to do that's a whole other thing. Like,
but you can't be another. You can't be another one of the ladies though. Like you can't be there. Like you're friends with all of them. Like you're just another one of the girls, you know, and like you're just doing all the things the girls do. Like because women like men that are decisive and assertive. And so the biggest thing too is knowing that like that's what's fun, right? One of the cornerstones of charisma is fun. Women like men that are confident and charismatic, right? Confidence comes from experience. You have to get out there, you have to do hard things, you have to experience things in order to even feel confident about anything in the first place. When it comes to charisma, though, charisma is all about the fun of it all. And when you're constantly asking her, like, well, where would you want to go on vacation? What would you want to do? Where do you want to go out for dinner tonight? You know, what do you want to eat? There's no fun in that for her. She has to decide everything. She's like, dude, just figure it out. I don't know. Surprise me. Right. So that's really what they're all about. They don't want to have to decide. That's why they have a man in the first place. He decides everything. He sets the direction. He holds the frame. And she just lives in his frame. You don't live in her frame. So that's one of the big things too, is her frame is her frame. It's her relationship. It's her family. This is her man. Mm-hmm. Really, you're not inside of that frame. You're not even part of it. You have your own frame and she lives inside of your frame and you're the one who's setting the rails for her to live in. You're the one who sets the rules. And so if you're not setting the rules and she can do whatever she wants, it's not fun for her anymore.
Right. Yeah. You know what group of people I always thought a lot of people bash them or look down and say, oh, they're male chauvinistic. Was like that Puerto Rican community. Most of them are very male. Like,
yes,
they got
absolutely
fucking women on lock. It's not beating them. They're just, they know, okay, you don't like this, they'll find somebody else. I really kind of wish there was some videos put out there, like, guys, you need to, like, this is how it needs to be. But most of them still have a strong male figure or a very strong dominant, whether it's a father, an uncle, whatever, in their lives. And they watched it. They said, okay, this is what men do. Now, is some of it chauvinistic? Who gives a shit? Who cares? Life's not fair. But they're very strong. They have very strong frames, most of them. And so when I hang out with some of my friends that are Puerto Rican, it's just crazy. I'm like, man, they're literally like, say, I'm going to go out with this other girl to their girlfriend. And the girlfriend's like, what? Like, yeah, I'm going to go hang out. I'll talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. It's crazy.
I got a ton of Puerto Rican family too, and like so, like my stepdad, his whole half of his family is Puerto Rican. His mom's Puerto Rican, like that's where they. Yeah, I've seen it too, and all of his uncles, his grandpa, everybody. They were all like the manliest men I ever knew in my life. Right? I learned a lot from those guys too.
But
I know that my stepdad learned a lot. Yeah,
but they're also very passionate too. They have both sides. They're, I'm just painting a broad stroke. They're really good at dancing. They have passion. They have both sides. They have a feminine quality, but it's a strong feminine. It's not the weak, girly. It's very strong, and they have a very masculine. I do believe you have to have both, but you have to know which one to use at the right time.
Oh, they're all tools, yeah.
Simping is all feminine. It's a 100% feminine quality. This is why women view them as weak men. Like, they can't view you because you're just giving away your attention. You're giving away your validation. It's just a weak behavior for you to be. You should be busy. Like, fuck, what? Why are you at 3:00 in the afternoon hearting 20 girls' pictures? And then I look at these pictures of these girls. I'm like, what are you doing at 3 PM? Don't you have kids?
It comes off as desperate. Like, you just look desperate. That's the biggest thing.
Girls look desperate too.
Right.
When they continually this, and I feel bad sometimes for girls because they're so hard up to get this attention. There's this one girl I know, she's fairly educated. Every day she changes her profile picture, and I feel like she needs like therapy. Like, you literally, something's wrong up here. Like, you have to keep getting this emotional response from guys, or you'll die. It feels like it's just the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Same thing with girls. Every other day, they're just this same look. They're just in a different bikini, taking stupid pictures. It's like, to me,
they're fishing. Yeah.
Don't you have shit to do? Like, if you're so strong and independent, don't need a man, why are you taking a picture at 3:00 in the fucking afternoon? Aren't you at a job? What are you doing? Shouldn't you be fixing whatever's broke at your house because you're independent? You don't need a man. Shouldn't you be fixing something? No. So it goes both ways. And it's just, if men just stopped simping, if they just went their own way, leveled themselves up, did what they need to do for them, not for women. Everything that I've done in my life is never to please a woman. The after effects aren't bad. Going to the gym, I have some muscle on me. Women like that. It's not that's a bonus. I went to the gym because I wanted to look a certain way. A lot of times, guys will go to the gym, look really good, get a girlfriend, and they get fat in like 3 years. Their goal was never to go to the gym. It was to do it for women. Anytime you do a goal for somebody else, you'll always fail. It won't work.
Well, the thing is, too, that's what you see with divorced men, like clockwork. Like, they're always overweight. They always have that pot gut. And like, oh, Bill, you're divorced now. You got to go work on your abs now, man. You got to get back in the dating market. And that's usually like clockwork what happens with a lot of divorced guys. Because the guys who are working on it, who continue to work on it, who are exhibiting these kinds of behaviors that we're talking about, not the simp behaviors, but the traditional man behaviors, and they're really in it for themselves. They're really just doing it for themselves. Those are the guys that remain in long-term relationships. That's why they're so rare. That's why a lot of women who feel entitled, who want those kinds of men, they can't find them because they're usually locked up in some kind of long-term relationship that they're happy in.
Yeah. And simping doesn't just go with initial attraction. You can simp for your girlfriend. You can simp for your wife. Richard Cooper talked about death by 1,000 cuts or 1,000 concessions. Right. That's all simping. Changing your frame, agreeing to do stuff that you don't want to do just to make her happy. That's all simping. I talked about the analogy. I went shopping. I think we did the video on it. I went shopping to the mall one effing time with my wife years ago. It'll never happen again, ever. My girlfriend knows that. Like, it'll never happen. If we have to go to the mall, it's for one thing, and I'm out. I'm not walking around like a freaking retard in the mall. It's not going to happen. But men,
take your girlfriend with you.
Men will take little cuts every time. Of course, I want to go to Target and pick out drapes. What man has ever said that? Said that's a great idea? No, he does it to make her happy. That's a form of simping, in my opinion. Now, sometimes you just have to shut her up and go do something, but you still need a strong frame. So this is how relationships can they lose respect. When those roles start flipping, where the girl starts making demands and starts having that more of a masculine presence, and the guy starts becoming more feminine. It's simping. It's still simping. You've flipped your roles. Some women like that. I'm not saying some of these simps, some women love you because they know how to exploit you. They know how to use you. They know how to get shit from you. And then they know how to keep you.
Just look at OnlyFans.
They know how to keep you dangling just enough to keep you in the background while she's getting railed out by Ryan or Chad or somebody. But you're still always going to be there. She knows it. She's just giving you just a little much. That's all simp behavior. To me, honestly, guys, if you're not sleeping with the girl, what's the point of talking to her? What's the point of going out for coffee with her or having dinner with her? I don't understand the point. And then
I agree.
I've gotten comments on my YouTube. You can still be friends with the girl. Okay, who pays? I guarantee you still pay. She won't ever try to reach out and try to pay your friends.
I like how Matt Rife put it, actually, the comedian Matt Rife. Like, he
Oh
talks
yeah,
about this a little bit too, and he says, like, okay, well, maybe he's like, he has a whole bit on it where he's like, he's not your friend, and like he sits there and talks about how like, oh, did he make you cry? Oh, come over here, it's okay, and then like, he's not your friend,
he's
and
not
so
your.
he's talking about how like, okay, well, maybe the two of you could be friends, but one of you all is busted. There's no doubt about it. That's the only
Absolutely.
way you're friends with another girl.
That 100%. It's 100% to me. Simp. It's just and simp. Basically, you're a simpleton. You're dumb. I mean, it's just simpleton behavior. The only time that works is maybe if you were married and you have kids and you took your ex. You have to talk about something. I mean, there's outliers. But just to go out with a girl who's not giving you sex, who hasn't given you the time of day, yet she's always up for a free meal, or she's always up for a free good time as long as you're willing to pay, you're being used. What's the point? And even if you had sex with her in the past, but you're not now for whatever reason, she's in another relationship, whatever, you're still required to protect her when you're out with her. Some couple guys come up and they want to F her up, you got to jump in and protect her. F that, man. That ain't my responsibility. I'm sorry. I'm not here to do Captain Save-A-Ho. If my girlfriend's in trouble, that's one thing. But some girl I have who's not sleeping with me, you're on your own. Sorry. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. So
well, that's the thing, though. It's like there's almost no case where a guy is trying to cultivate a relationship like that where he doesn't want her to have sex with him. Like in almost every single case. I'm not going to say it's like every case because like you can't pigeonhole the whole thing. Sure, maybe you could be friends with a woman. Sure, maybe she could be friends with a guy. I mean, sure, maybe it does happen. Cool, but it's rare.
They're lying
to
to
standards,
themselves.
right? In most cases, most of the friends I've ever had, and in most relationships I've ever been into, like if I'm friends with a girl, dude, I want to have sex with her.
Absolutely.
There's just no doubt about it. And she wants you to pay for everything. She wants to benefit from this relationship somehow. That's just the way the dynamics work.
There's no situation. I don't even care if a guy says, oh, I've had a best girlfriend for years. It means she hasn't had sex with you. The only time that makes sense is the guy's legitimately gay. Fine. Great. I mean, okay, cool. Go out with your girlfriends. But I don't give a shit. There's no situation where a guy, it's like, oh, I've just been friends with Heather for 30 years. Well, Heather might be busted. Okay. Heather might have maybe a mental condition and he
great
feels
personality.
pity. Great. But guys are dirty. They still want to bang you. I mean, guys will still want to do it. So I don't know.
She could be 200 pounds. He still wants to have sex with her.
At some point, it's just going to, I don't know. We'll leave that alone. But at the same time, this is just how men have evolved. And it's through a lot of the single motherhood. It's through just having women. That's all that they know. That's their mental models. Women have been in my life. And all I know is if I please them, if I'm a good little boy, if I say the right things, if I go do these things every time my mom wants me to do it or my teacher does it, I'll be rewarded. And it works when you're a baby and you're adolescent. But you take that same mental model when you're an adult. Why is I give to Heather and she doesn't ask, I haven't had sex with you yet. Why? Because it flipped. Like guys don't understand that. Like I do all these things for these women and they don't.
Right.
I'm not being rewarded. No shit, because it doesn't work in the real world. It works in fantasy land.
Well, and it doesn't occur to them. Like they've been taught their whole lives by their mothers, by their sisters, by their aunts, by school, by the media. Like, you gotta respect women. And then, like I said, I was one of these guys. I really was.
I was too.
Like, in my mid-20s and stuff too. Like I looked around, I'm like, why the hell does she want to be with him? I would never treat her like that. I'm nothing but nice to her. What is wrong with me? And you look at it, well, nothing's really wrong with you. It's just the fact that it's a surface level behavior that you've got to stop doing. And you just got to realize what women really want,
right,
and when to play those cards. Women don't want assholes. That's not what they want. That's not really what they're after. They're after assertive men. These guys come off as assholes. Like they almost always do, but they're really just, they're in it for themselves. They're in it for like what they want and their own gain, and they've got their own direction. They grew up the right way, and they're always about their own betterment, and that's why these women respect them.
Right.
It really has nothing to do with the fact that they're an asshole. Like I said, they might come off as an asshole to you. That might be exactly what's going on in your head. But at the end of the day, it's really just that she respects him more, because he's more decisive. He's more assertive. He's more confident. He's more charismatic. She has more fun with him.
Right. And guys, it's not, like Chase said, it's not so much he's an asshole. Well, I've been called asshole a lot, but it's, you have your own opinions, and you're just not willing to deal with her shit. This is really what women want. They want a man who has a strong frame, who has his own ideas. And the whole idea with simping is, you've been brought up to know that I have to please my mom because she works and, she does all this, and I don't see my dad. I always tell single moms, listen, I've been a single dad. I get it, but you made that choice too. So don't say, oh, blah, blah, poor me, poor me. You decide to sleep with that guy who left. So you only get enough sympathy, like, all right, you're handling your shit. But as a boy learning this and seeing this, this is what they realize. Oh, if I'm nice to my mom, she's nice to me. If I'm nice to the teachers, they're nice to me. If I'm nice to the principal, if I'm nice to my sister, all of these people. If a boy is too rambunctious, these little bitches will tell the teacher and not fight the boy because they don't want to get in trouble. Like, seriously, like, fight the boy. Like, you're a boy. They don't do that. They have no compass. They don't understand that I don't want to get in trouble. This is where the danger comes from. And now you have a whole society of weak men who aren't getting sex. So now they're frustrated. They have this nice guy mentality. Girls, I'm telling you, this is where, like, here's how rapes happen. This is when guys snap and they do something horrific.
Mental health does play into it.
Mental health is a huge thing. So this is why women want maybe that asshole, that bad guy, because they're not. Look at it. When I first started dating my girlfriend and she didn't want to have sex, I'm not going to rape her. I'm like, all right, cool. Hey, talk to you later. There's no reason for me to talk to you. These guys who have been so frustrated, so beat up all their lives by their own doing, one of them will snap or could snap or the ability to snap and say, I've done all of these things for you a whole month. And they have that ability in them to do something horrific. This is why women don't like nice guys, because it's fake. It's fake. It's dangerous. It's fucking dangerous. Simping and the whole thing is very dangerous.
I completely agree with that. That's actually something I was digging into the last couple of days as I was researching topics for this channel. Mm-hmm. And like I said, mental health majorly plays into this. These guys do snap. They do snap. It happens. And that's scary because they're capable of anything. Like, especially in Western cultures, in the United States and stuff too, like a gun is not hard to get. And that's where all this stuff goes. Like, these guys just don't know how to live. They haven't been initiated by other men. They don't have their men's group where they can go to these guys. That's why fathers in these nuclear families are so important too. It's so important to have a dad around who roughs you up a little bit. I'm not talking like he beats you or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, dads inherently are rougher with kids than women are, right? Moms are there like, no, we got to protect the kids. He's my perfect little angel. And dad's over here like, oh, look at this kid. He's throw up against the ceiling. I don't know, man. Like, dads, that's necessary. Kids learn from that. They learn so much from that kind of behavior. Yeah. They learn that dad's really fun to be around, for one thing, and they start to have fun with dad. And like I said, dad isn't as concerned about their safety. It's not that he doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't want them to be safe. He's not as overly concerned like mom is, right? Mm-hmm. And so he'll do more fun things with the kids. He'll let them go a little more out of control. He'll give them that little piece of candy, sneak it to them and stuff like that too. Dad's fun. Mm-hmm. And dad being removed from the nuclear family because mom thinks that she can be independent. She can raise this family on her own. She has enough status systems to make it happen. Like, like the courts completely pull dad out and make sure that he's not even part of the picture. And we got this simpish stepdad who steps into the picture.
Right.
And now that's who's training everybody. Like these are real issues, and it's really causing a lot of poor mental health for men.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's funny you said that. Like my dad really wasn't in the picture. My parents never really divorced. They've been separated 20 something years, but he was like a weekend alcoholic, but he was there. But it was like when he drank one too many, complete asshole, that Dr. Jekyll.
Right.
But of the times he was okay, he's the one that showed me how to fix basic shit in a car.
Yes.
He was the one that taught me every swear word by me holding a wrench wrong. I mean, you know what I mean? But these are things that I'm not holding the flashlight right. And you motherfucker, I'm like, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
First beer, he gave it to me. First cigarette. Not saying these are all wrong things now, but back then he's like,
you learned from it though, right? You gave you certain experiences you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Right. And, like you said, I did a lot of simpish shit very early on. I ended up getting, married early. And so, and I was married for a long time. So some of that simpish behavior came out after the divorce because I'm now dating again. But I learned real quick back to that, like, okay, none of this is working. Like me being super nice. And even I remember my wife at the time said, you're going to live forever because you're an asshole. And I remember that. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm going to go back to just being an asshole. And she goes, you're not an asshole like you're going to hit somebody. It's your way or the fucking highway. That's all it's been. She goes, that's what I respect about you. You might be wrong, but this is the only way it's going to go. And she's like, that's what I've always loved and respected about you. You never move from that. So, I probably could have done a little bit better on some things, but I did have that very strong frame, that motto, like, this is how it is. If you don't like it, I wish you well, but you're not changing me. And if men could develop that model, and you can, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. You have to figure out what your frame is, and you can never deviate from it. You have to figure out what your triggers are. You have to heal from any emotional wounds that you have in the past. Maybe you were raised by a single mom. I'm not saying it's an emotional wound, but you're lacking male leadership. You've lacked it all your life. And so you're at a deficit. You need to figure that out. And how do you figure that out? Be around other males. It's really the only way. Get into a good coaching program. We have them. Get into a good mentorship group coaching. We have that. You're not going to learn it through women. Women aren't going to teach you how to be men. They're going to teach you how to be women. And I'll say this one other thing, because it's come up a few times. Don't get a female dating coach to help you with females. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They don't understand the mental model, and they don't even understand women. I don't know why it's came up like 8 times this week. I'm like, why would you hire a female to help you date other females? It makes sense.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah.
But it doesn't. It really doesn't. You need a male, because how women respond is a strong male. A woman can't show you how to do that. Anyway, I'll leave that part.
Like a lot of the men dating coaches, they have figured out all these little nuances, and they can teach it to you much better than a woman ever could. And so, like, that's the big thing too. It's not saying that you're not going to get any value from that. It's just the fact that, like, a man knows how to be a man and knows how to be a man around a woman. And in a lot of cases, he's already figured out all that stuff too. That's why we created the program that we did too. That was one of the things that I was really passionate about when it came to this program. When we first came up with the idea, was the fact that, hey, dude, we're going to create a brotherhood of men. We're going to create our own little wolf pack and stuff over here too. Wow. That was the thing I was most excited about, because I wanted to be surrounded by other men who are on the same mission as me. I wanted to be around other men who have had the same experiences that I have and who've overcome this stuff. Men who are 20 steps ahead of me, so that they can look back at me and say, okay, dude, well, you're just doing this wrong. You're just doing that wrong. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? and hold me accountable to some of those things, because that's what I didn't grow up with, man. Like, I didn't have that growing up. I wish to hell that I did, but I just didn't. It just wasn't there, right? All I had is my mom, and she was a strong, independent woman. Sure. And she was always, with Chad down the street. And so that's just really what it was. Yeah. And I noticed that with her. I noticed her promiscuous behavior. I noticed how she had simps pining for her and all that stuff too. These guys would come around, they'd buy me things, they'd buy her things just to try and get there. I mean, it was weird. It was really freaking strange when a new guy would show up and come in the house and give me like $20. Hey, go to the store, man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Here you go, little Jimmy.
It's just a little strange, man.
Yeah, like,
I didn't realize it was weird back then. Like back then, I'm like, cool, $20, cool, right on, let's go.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's very weird. Yeah.
And it becomes apparent to you when you start to get around other men who look at that and they go, "Oh, that's weird, man." And especially older men. And that's one of the key things I've gotten from a lot of these books. Like I said, I read Iron John, and that was like the Bible for me when I first got through my 20s, when I was trying to have a better relationship with my wife, when I was trying to be a better father to my kids. Mm-hmm. For me, it wasn't about dating. I wasn't trying to go out and find as many women as possible. For me, it was about, well, how can I create the most fulfilling relationship possible with the one that I'm with?
Right.
And how can I be the best dad for my kids? Because I didn't have a dad. And so it was really important to me to be the best dad that I could be when I finally had my kids. Right. And I had kids early. Mm-hmm. And that's why I got into the relationship that I did. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be traditional. Mm-hmm. And these things were important to me. But I realized in my mid-20s, you're a freaking simp. You're acting like a simp all the freaking time. And that's why your wife doesn't respect you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I had to fix it. And these books are really what helped me do that. But one thing that I really wish I had was a group of men around me to learn from, who could show me the way and tell me what I was doing wrong, because it wasn't obvious to me. And I'm sure it's not obvious to you. And that's why we created this group of men. That's why I've been working so hard on the platform in the back end of this too. Yeah. We're launching on the 1st, right? And that's what this is all about. It's having these forum threads that we can go to where we can discuss these topics, where we can meet up every single week in group exclusive content and talk as men about the different things that we're going through, because there will be other men there who are going through the same things, who can guide you, who can direct you. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty, I know we're going a little bit out of time, but the reason why I liked when Chase and I collaborated on this is a lot of like YouTube channels and a lot of coaching platforms, there's always just one guy or one girl, and they're the figurehead. I wanted two, because Chase and I have two very different backgrounds. Chase is married. I'm not. Chase is more business centered in like computers and stuff. I'm not. I'm more brick and mortar type stuff. So we have two different backgrounds that we can help guys on. So if you resonate more with Chase, then you can book a call with him, or you can get on a platform with him. If you resonate more with me, you can get on me. Neither one of us are going to get mad about it. We're just trying to help you. So I always felt like there's having two people with two very different backgrounds, but we share the same ideas. That's really what it is, that we can help more people. Because some people might like, Jared, you're an asshole. You got a throat tattoo. You look like you kill people. I'd rather deal with Chase because he smiles and fine, great. We share the same value system for the most part. And so that's another reason why I think this channel is a little bit more unique than other channels. And then the other part is I'm a lot older than Chase. How old are you?
34.
So I'm 48. So he can help guys in his age group that maybe are married or maybe are in the process of getting married, have kids. I'm a little different. It's like, dude, I've already done that. I'm more of, are you going through a divorce or a bad breakup? Are you trying to get back out there? I have more of a skill set for that because I've been through it. If you've been through something, you can understand it. He can't understand divorce. He hasn't been through it. So we got together, and of course, Kim in the background, Chase's wife, she's very much into this. So if women are watching this and you prefer a woman, well, Kim's there as well. She's kind of in the background, but she's also available. She's willing to do some coaching with women and stuff if that's something you feel more comfortable. So, we have a complete team as well as other coaches across the country. So, hi, Kim. But I did want to bring part of this. Yeah,
For
I did
sure.
want to
That's
bring
the
that
big
out
thing
there.
is like having a better relationship. That's what we're all about. Because me and Kimberly together have created an amazing family relationship. We live
Yeah.
abroad, all of us in
Mhm.
Mexico too.
Mhm.
And we love where things have gone for us. And I would love to help other people achieve that too. It's not
Yeah.
all about dating. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's just about having the best relationship you can have.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just really want to improve that, right? So we're here to cater to whatever you need, and we're here to help. That's all
Mhm.
it is. And so if you
Mhm.
want some help, you need some guidance, you want to have these discussions, maybe you don't really need anything, you just want to be part of a men's group, man. Like
Mhm.
that's what we're all about. And so
Yep.
if you really want to know more about that, then obviously go to our website, fill out the form, let's have a call, we'll talk about this, or comment below and we'll make sure we reach out to you guys. But
Yeah.
that's all we really have for you guys today. Is that all you have, Jared?
Yeah, just have a great weekend, guys, and that's really what I want to just make sure you guys understand. It's not just one person who developed this. We have a team around us with very different backgrounds for a reason, and so that's very important. I think. So I think some people might say, "Oh, well, Jared's the coach. I want to talk to Chase. Go ahead." Or I want to talk to Kim. I want to talk to a woman. Great. You can do all that. We make that available for
Exactly.
you. We're just trying to help. We're just trying to give you guys information, trying to lead you down a better path for yourself. That's all.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for showing up. We will obviously be back this next Friday. Show up, make sure you guys have the conversation with us.
Yeah.
And if there's any topics you guys want us to cover, then obviously comment below and let us know.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next Friday.